Hi there, it's Allan from Loud and Clear, and I'm delighted to be joined this morning with Niall, who's the European Sales Manager from Innuos. This is essentially a little follow-up to the introductory video which we did with Niall giving an overview of Innuos. This is really a bit more specifically to do with this product, which is the Innuos. This is the ZENith Next Gen. But I think probably to set the scene, can you give me a little bit of background to Innuos and a little bit of an introduction as to what this will do and where it will fit in your hi-fi system now?
Absolutely, thanks Alan. So Innuos, we completely focus on the digital front end of the system, from a streaming and server point of view, the storage of music and accessing the wider services available to us, such as Qobuz and Tidal. Part of Innuos is how we develop products. We're quite a big team. It's nearly 50 people now in Innuos, and we develop both the hardware and the software together as a team, with a view to optimizing both, because both are absolutely critical to how a server and a streamer can operate, and also the ultimate sound quality that you get in your system.
So I guess this is a bit of an evolution. You guys have been making digital streamer servers now for what, 10 plus years?
Exactly, and we're always evolving, both the hardware and the software. But the ZEN and the ZENith Next Gen marked a massive evolution. This project was begun almost with a clean sheet to leverage quite a lot of new technology available to us. Some existing technology that we'd already fine-tuned and perfected. And a big part of the project, and in fact all of our projects, both software and hardware, is taking feedback from our end users that we actively seek and say, what do you want in your system? How do you use your system? And very importantly, how is it connected to the rest of your hi-fi is really very important.
So this is really the front end of a kind of digital hi-fi system. So this would typically connect to either a DAC or the front end effectively of a system. So connect to a DAC, amplifier, loudspeakers.
Exactly. The core of both of these products, as we can see, they look very similar. They have a virtually identical chassis, massively built aluminium chassis to reduce vibration down to the absolute minimum. The
logic being that vibration is a source of distortion, source of noise.
Exactly. But
components are microphonic, so when you vibrate them, their value changes. They're cutting lines of flux, so
it's a well-proven principle, not just digital, of course,
in all amplifiers and so on. That isolation is really important.
Really important. The design of these is based around a proprietary processing board, mainboard, that we developed, which is called the Precise Audio Board.
So that was developed ground up from you guys?
Yes, absolutely for this. That allows us to implement several technologies. It allows us to have very close control over the power supplies and clocking at various stages in this digital system as the signal passes through. But it also allowed us to implement a technology called Audio Core. We have multi-core processors now on board the units. And Audio Core is a software control that allows us to prioritize the audio signal and address it to one core.
So just going back a level then, so these are connected to your network. So these interpret a stream of Ethernet data effectively.
Data is coming in over the Ethernet,
Or they're interpreting data streaming from the hard drive, so zeros and ones coming from a hard drive. So the purpose of it is to convert that stream of data into something which resembles an audio signal.
Exactly that. Rendering. It would be the term to refer to taking that file, be it a FLAC, WAV, DSD, any of these high quality music storage methods.
So they're really just a receptacle, aren't they? They're just a receptacle for data. So you need to convert that somehow into a linear stream of music.
And that point and that conversion is absolutely critical. It almost defines the quality you'll have at the end of
the whole garbage in, garbage out scenario that we touched on.
And when we take that delicate signal, one of the most important things is to not add anything and not take anything away. So we want a bit perfect, we want all the data, but we don't want any additional noise. And we don't want any what we would call jitter as well in a digital signal where timing is not precise.
So explain a little bit more. So how does jitter work?
Timing in a digital signal is incredibly critical. The precision of that signal has to be timed. And we use a number of technologies and methods to do that. When the digital signal is leaving it, we're communicating, say, with a DAC. That DAC wants to receive the most clear and precise signal as possible for it to do its conversion efficiently into that final audio analog signal. One of the technologies we use inside of these units with our optional Phoenix Lite USB output card is what's called OCXO reclocking. This is an extremely precise way of timing that signal. The crystal oscillator, the clock itself, is contained within a capsule where the temperature is very accurately controlled. And in doing that, we can achieve a rate of accuracy that is as near perfect, really. That instantly makes the DAC's job far easier. And the signal becomes much more clear.
So in the scenario where you're using a USB connector, you've eventually got the digital engine and the DAC both running on the same clock signal. So the two of them are perfectly in sync with each other.
Exactly. Very, very important.
One
of the next, critical pieces of a good digital streamer is the power supply. Again, it's massively important across all hi-fi, but a digital system has, of course, slightly different needs. A USB card has slightly different needs to the processor in how it requires power. We use a new power supply system that we've developed, NGAN, which is using gallium nitride in the power supply, which allows us to achieve very, very low impedance power supply, very thermally efficient. They don't get hot, but it allows the effect on that to really bring out the transients and the micro detail in the music, because that power supply is doing such a good and quiet job as well. And we will also have separate power supplies inside for various components. The hard drive with the operating system has a separate power supply. The output cards have a separate power supply. Really, really, really.
And presumably they're serving two functions. They're delivering clean power to the area that they want to be, but they're also minimising the amount of noise that they're producing and pushing back into the rest of the system, as it were.
Absolutely. And internally in the units, then we also shield. The power supply sits in its own chassis, in the chassis, shielding again any interference leaking out into the rest of the system.
Both going out and coming in. Excellent. Okay. Any other kind of unique technologies that you guys can use?
Well, on the grounds of these units, of course, really important is going back to listening to what our customers want and how they use and connect the systems. So this also marked our first units where it can be configured to suit a particular hi-fi.
So how could you use a digital server? How could it be connected? So it would be connected as a network attached storage device, so a network drive. So it sits on your internal network and therefore streams music across the network. It can be connected using SPDIF, so coaxial, optical,
and AES.
And then probably your preferred form of connection would be on USB.
Really, the point is to choose the right configuration for your system. So different DACs will prefer a different signal path. So rather than recommending one over the other, it's what do you need, and you can specify that. So currently, We have available our SPDIF board, which is the AES coax and optical.
So you've got the SPDIF
Yes.
connection board, which has got coax, optical, and AES EBU.
Yes.
And you can specify that or not specify that. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
Okay.
If
the reason for that being?
The reason is if you don't need it, you're not forced to, of course, have it in the system.
Yeah, okay.
Really. And in certain systems where, as you mentioned before, if the unit is being used over a network, over Ethernet, you simply wouldn't require that. So no need to have it installed and increase the cost unnecessarily.
And presumably also a level of complexity and again another potential source of noise.
Mostly it would be based, we would think just there's no need to have that cost involved. It wouldn't, if it was in the unit or not in the unit, it won't affect the sound quality. But but it is a very popular option. Okay. The next interface we use is, of course, USB, which we've used and leveraged for many years.
So a lot of commercially available DACs now have a USB input. So how does that differ? Because SPDIF really just it's just one way. It's a one-way stream of data, isn't it?
Exactly, yes. With USB, of course, the unit will sync to the DAC. And in the software, you can see what type of DAC it's assigned to and adjust the output bit rates and connectivity to suit what the DAC is capable of. USB is a higher performance, generally speaking, given most systems. And we can then start to use more high-resolution files and DSD that you can't do through SPDIF.
Through SPDIF, right, okay.
Yeah, exactly. And of course with USB then, because of course we've got that two-way communication, we can then implement the OCXO reclocking as well, which is a big boost in sound performance.
Okay. And does that just operate, that operates over the USB cable then effectively?
Correctly, yes. Exactly.
So that's all built in with that connector. Right, okay.
Yes,
So we've got power supplies, we've got the USB reclocking, we've got the kind of chassis isolation. Is there any other?
The next one, we will also continue to evolve. Very recently we launched an I2S output board.
Okay.
I2S has more advantages than USB. It allows a very direct connection with the DAC chips. It allows clocking to be handled entirely by the card. And it allows much higher resolution files as well, depending on the performance of the DAC.
What does that look like?
It looks like a HDMI connector, actually. We also implemented a really...
But that operates similar to a USB, but it's just got a bit more flexibility.
It's quite different in how it actually operates, yes. But the best way to think about it is that you are now getting a direct route straight to the actual DAC chips in your DAC. It's bypassing any filtering and anything else happening on the front end. I2S has some challenges out there, and one of them is compatibility between products. Has been a stumbling block for many implementations. What we have done, I think, quite a clever and simple solution is we now have an 8-way switch on the back, which the user can use and adjust, and different products will have a different position on the switch depending on how they have implemented the pin out effectively. So it makes it compatible with a vast array of DACs, whereas previously an I2S would only have had fairly limited compatibility.
Okay, great. Okay. So you've made ZENith for a few years now, obviously next gen. So differences between historical and new?
Almost everything. I would say a clean sheet. We started from scratch, and a lot of that was again for future proofing. We have plans to implement further features and further technology on this platform that we needed to go to a new platform to do. So you can expect us to release potentially more output modules, different ways of interfacing it with your system, and a constant stream of new features added in the software domain as well. So it's an ongoing. All of our products are designed to have a really long shelf life. They're designed to give you, years and years and years of pleasure and constant updates too. So as new features become available, we don't want to leave anybody behind. We'll always implement the latest technologies and features over the air.
Great. Okay. And just to finish off on the kind of storage side of things as well. So these are effectively digital storage devices as well. So they are again configurable from you guys with a variety of onboard SSD drives of a variety of sizes.
Absolutely. From the factory, they can be specified with no storage, where somebody would like to use it as a server purely for streaming services.
So that would be Cobuzz and Tidal, and I'd have nothing on board.
We can install 2, 4, 8, up to 16 terabytes at the factory. But really importantly is that now these units, the end user can upgrade the storage should it be required. Typically, if they've ordered a 2 terabyte and they run out, there's now a user accessible port on the bottom of the units, which you can open and insert a new hard drive that you can purchase really anywhere. And we do have some that we can recommend if people are interested. The software then will implement and integrate that hard drive into the system through very easily without any fuss. And the customer's got more storage.
And you would see that as being a repository for downloaded files. If you still have a CD collection or you have music on a NAS drive, can that be exported and imported onto the device effectively?
Import from USB from NAS drives, very straightforward. CD ripping, the functionality remains in the units. So we haven't gone away from that. We don't have a slot drive in these anymore, but by connecting a USB drive, you can have the full ripping features as well, which makes that quite easy to do.
So you would typically do that. We would plug a laptop onto the network or something that's capable of taking a CD ripper. Or is there a better way of doing that?
The best way is through a simple USB drive. It will connect in the software. It will recognise it's being connected, and then all of the ripping features that we've always had are there and automated.
So you can do your editing, you can edit the metadata, you can deliver that.
And then when no longer in use, you can unplug it and put that away.
Absolutely, indeed. Backup wise, so presumably if you do have music stored on the drives internally, you suggest some kind of backup from that. That can be done either again with USB, or you can back that up onto a network attached storage device, NAS drive sitting on the network.
Either.
Somewhere.
Yes. And we do recommend as with all digital libraries, a backup is a great idea.
Absolutely. In terms of software and software updates and so on, how's that implemented within the Innuos world?
We would typically have multiple major updates each year as we develop new features. I'd say our team of developers are constantly working. At the moment, they're working on the software that we'll probably see in 6 months' time. As new things come along, last year we added Tidal Connect. Cobuzz Connect is coming very soon. That's a feature that can be added. We evolve the library management and how people interact with that. They can change their playlists and edit tracks even more easily with each generation. We recently implemented a brand new internet radio interface and podcast interface, which is proving to be really popular and a big improvement over ones we'd used in the past. And again, it's to keep value in the product and to keep it updated. Streaming is evolving all the time. And if you've got a very, very serious piece of hardware designed to deal with that, the software again is critical, and that's why we want to continuously upgrade.
And that's just an over-the-air software update.
Absolutely. On the Sense app, it will pop up a new thing with some release notes, and you hit go, and
you hit
that's
go.
it.
Great. Okay, now that was great. That was really informative. Thank you very much. Hi there, it's Allan here from Loud and Clear Glasgow. Loud and Clear is Scotland's premier hi-fi and home cinema retailer and installer. The purpose of this channel is to give you a little bit of insight into some of the behind the scenes of the hi-fi industry. We're interviewing some techs, some salespeople, and we're trying to find out some really interesting information about some of the brands we know and love. If you think this is the kind of thing that may be of interest to you, please like and subscribe.